Draft Analyzer Desktop Companion is brand new for 2009. As you can see, it's got the exact same layout as previous years, but it's got some really cool new features. The biggest change for this year is that all the setup is done in the Draft Analyzer web license, and then you download those settings to your Desktop Companion. This makes it a lot easier to use the Desktop Companion on multiple computers, and will also allow you to save settings from year to year as opposed to recreating the wheel every single season. If we go to thedraftanalyzer.com, sign in, access the Draft Analyzer web, select the league you want to download, and in the Settings tab there's a link for Draft Analyzer Desktop Companion. There's some step-by-step instructions, including the setup file that you can download to your desktop. It's PC only, it does not work on Macs, as well as the username and league name that you'll need to enter in the Desktop Companion when you're ready to download those leagues. There's also a manual option down here with a link for these settings, as well as the player projections that you can download manually if you run into firewall problems or don't have internet access on the PC that you want to use for your offline draft. But with this, we'll take that username and league name, go into our Desktop Draft Analyzer. When you open it, you'll get a Getting Started menu. You can also select that from the File menu. We're just going to simply type in that username and password, select Snake, Straight, or Auction Style Draft, and click Download Settings from Web Account. Now let's go into the Draft Analyzer web, downloading our projections and settings. Again, if you have a firewall issue, you'll have to use the manual option, but if you can turn off your firewalls, it's really easy to get your settings into the Desktop Companion. And as we see, all of my usernames have been downloaded in their draft order. My point values reflect the point values on the Draft Analyzer web, and now I've got the Desktop Companion up and running in a matter of seconds. The cool new functionality for this year, we've got draft order and budget, so you can change throughout the draft, so you can change your draft order in the 3rd, 5th, 7th round, etc. if that's how your draft is run. You can also pre-select all draft picks or do draft trades in mass via this menu, the draft trades menu. So you can really customize your draft to your needs using the Desktop Companion very easily. The layout is the same as previous years. The biggest difference is the personalized player recommendation engine that you can now tweak during your draft. You can recommend picks using 3 different algorithms: dynamic value-based drafting, which is the most accurate, value-based drafting, and average draft position. You can also adjust your list to reflect your roster needs, fill your starters first, prevent overlapping bye weeks, and eliminate stretch picks. You can check these on and off during your draft. My personal preference is to leave these on for the first few rounds. As soon as I fill most of my starters outside of kickers and defense, I'll keep this clicked, but once that happens, I'll uncheck it. But I usually prefer to keep everything else checked during the draft, but that's up to your personal preference. So that'll affect the players you see in this window. If you ever get to a situation where you don't see any players in this window for recommended picks, go here and uncheck some of these filters and you'll see more players. But it's easy to double click to draft a player for the owner on the clock. The Desktop Companion is much faster than last year's version, which is great. It also has real easy support for keepers. And you can enter a round for a keeper as well, and remove a keeper if you make a mistake or something like that. Draft pick's easy to edit a draft pick. This should have been Michael Turner, same owner. I could change owners. You can also remove players from rosters if you accidentally add them. So you can go back and edit draft picks very easily. You can view your roster, all rosters, view details of players, quickly sort by position, defensive players, teams and defensive players, kickers, get league projections with basic stats and points based on all your draft picks. The draft dashboard is what I like to view throughout the draft and really look at, make some draft picks here. Really look at the player recommendation engine here, as well as a summary of players drafted by position, which really shows you what positions other owners still need. Do they still need a starting quarterback or second running back, etc. You have one-click access to edit draft picks from the draft dashboard, and you can also view players down here and the players expected to be drafted before your next draft round Very helpful if you're targeting a player to see if they might be drafted before your next pick. If that's the case, obviously you want to take them with this pick. Double click anywhere to draft a player, select a player, press a letter key, and you bring up their season outlook. I think that's a basic overview. Look at draftanalyzer.com, FAQs and message board, and other tutorials for more information.